If you do want to grow in the corporate ladder, a lot of the times you do have to be more visible, right? Than just keeping your head down and staying to yourself and stuff like that, because that's where all the opportunities are going to come from. All the opportunities are going to come from the people who are working on the highly visible tasks and projects that mean a lot and have a lot of impact. Because I read a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. This guy, he was extremely talented and professional, but he was very nice and like to just keep his head down, and like he had a good job, but he was not able to grow or get promoted. Hey, like you may get passed up on promotions. You may not be able to grow in the corporate ladder. It also affects how much money that you will make.
Topic I want to talk to you about what they call the invisibility tax, the cost of being invisible in the workplace. One thing to be good at your job, and another thing for people to be aware of it, right? What do you think is the actual career cost to a black professional who is just kind of head down, nose to the grindstone, but not really leveraging and building relationships from a professional standpoint?
Right. And thank you for the question, because I think that it depends on everybody's individual goals, right?
Okay.
Because not everybody does want to grow in the corporate ladder. So I will say that. But if you do want to grow in the corporate ladder, a lot of the times you do have to be more visible, right? Than just keeping your head down and staying to yourself and stuff like that, because that's where all the opportunities are going to come from. All the opportunities are going to come from the people who are working on the highly visible tasks and projects that mean a lot and have a lot of impact to the organization. I mean, a quick example, because I read a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And in the book, they talk about how this guy, he was extremely talented and professional, but he was very nice and like to just keep his head down. And, he didn't gain a lot of results from that. Like he had a good job, but he was not able to grow or get promoted. And part of it is you having to change that part of not wanting to be in the limelight, not wanting to like show up and show out and show why you're great, right? But yeah, that's the cost is, hey, like you may get passed up on promotions. You may not be able to grow in the corporate ladder. It also affects how much money that you will make, right? Because if you aren't gaining those skills to be able to grow as a leader, like even if you're an individual contributor, you can still be a leader, and then you'll be able to make more money and get more rewards from that. So I think that's what the one of the big costs that Black professionals are going to be losing out on in their career if they just keep their heads down and just only focus on work.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. And you mentioned earlier, like not everybody wants to climb, which is true. Some people are not trying to, from a people leadership perspective, they're not interested in maybe reaching the executive level and those type of things.
Yeah.
However, I will say from an opportunity standpoint, even from the type of work that you're doing, getting access to the different types of projects and skill building opportunities, it's still important to be visible even for that, which increases your earnings. Even if you're not aspiring to get to a high level, if you want to continue to grow financially, and grow your income and continue to also get new opportunities and do different things and not just do the same thing all the time, visibility can impact that as well. What do you think about
Right.
that?
100%. 100% I believe in that. Really, I think that it's very true, because if you want to get into using like the new technologies, because as technologists or like professionals, we want challenges, right? We want to be able to solve problems. And I love a good challenge. I love like when something I don't know it yet, but then I learn something about it and I'm able to resolve it, and it's like fresh relief from being able to solve this problem. And over time, if you're just doing the same thing every day and day in and day out, you may want to be able to work on some new softwares or some new technologies or work on a new project. But they may not be able to say, hey, I don't know if you're the right person or not because I don't really know what you exactly do, right?
Yeah,
Y-
yeah.
And, you may just be stuck doing what you're doing for many, many years, but then you could have had the opportunity to work on some new projects and some new challenges that would have been fulfilling for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, as Black professionals, is there something unique in our experience that maybe would make us reluctant to put ourselves out there and work on building those relationships and having that visibility?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time it has to deal with how we're raised and our confidence level. I'm not sure if you've heard of the term imposter syndrome before.
Absolutely.
So a lot of Black professionals uh, have to deal with imposter syndrome, especially when they're brand new. I mean, when I remember back when I first started my career and I was going into work at a fintech company as an intern, and I would dress up in a suit, right? I would dress up in a suit every day, and somebody pulled me to the side and they said, like, that's so odd. Why are you dressed up in a suit every day? And I thought to myself, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be, maybe I should try to fit in more.
Mm,
And but really that was just like how I dressed at the time. I was like, okay, I'm trying to be, professional and stuff like that.
right.
And when I tell you, I did things to try to conform to what was already the culture of the company. So I felt like I didn't fit in, right? And that's just one example, but I know that a lot of Black professionals feel that way about just how they approach or how they show up in the workplace,
Yeah.
especially if you're the only one, right? If you're the
Yeah.
only one with your uh same way that you were raised or same background, it may be like, okay, I need to be able to conform to what they're trying to do as opposed to just being myself. And I know a lot of the time, like there's power in being authentically yourself.
Oh wow. Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think historically we haven't always felt like we could be authentic and be ourselves in the workplace because of stereotypes and various things like that. And maybe that holds us back in terms of not trying to be seem like we're arrogant or too brash. And so sometimes we overcompensate by kind of staying in our shells too much. So still some, I think some progress to be made there. But if you listen to Will, don't be afraid to be authentic, be fully yourself. Um, we want to respect workplace etiquette and those type of things. So we're not talking about that. We're not talking about, coming to work not dressed in the attire that's appropriate for the environment and those type of things, but more about your character, your personality, and really owning that part of yourself.
Most definitely.